Red Bull have been at the top of F1 in two different eras. You've got the early 2010s winning with Sebastian Vettel, and more recent with Max Verstappen winning the World Championship. However, eras always come to an end, and with the recent misfortunes around the Red Bull F1 team, are the dominoes starting to fall for the end of the Red Bull dominance. In this video, we're going to go through some of the recent misfortunes of the team and talk about if this is actually going to lead to a fall in performances for Red Bull and potentially a loss of their superstar driver. So let's get into it. Now, despite Red Bull still being on top of the Drivers' Championship through Max Verstappen and still being on the top of the Constructors' Championship, it hasn't exactly been plain sailing for the team. Now, I still think the car looks very quick overall, and we even saw it in qualifying, but there has been some cracks starting to show for the world champions. Now, first has to be talked about is the Sergio Perez performances. This season was really make or break for Perez going into it, and last year, while not competing with Max Verstappen, Red Bull had clearly the most superior car, so Sergio Perez still did well in the championship. Now this year they still do have the superior car. Max Verstappen has shown that until the last few months, where it has definitely been evened out, and teams such as Mercedes and McLaren have certainly caught up or even surpassed Red Bull's performances. Sergio Perez has not been at the races. He has consistently qualified poorly, not even really getting into Q3 a lot of the time, and when his highest finish is 7th since the Miami Grand Prix, there has to be some real considerations for him to no longer be within the team, considering as well he has been with the team for a very long time at this point, and it seems like it is the fair enough point to put people up. Now, usually I don't think it would have been the biggest deal for Red Bull because they know they're going to win the championship and still be very close, but this year, because Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell are all very competitive, and Red Bull are only 40 points ahead of McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, I think they are wanting more from their second driver, at least being able to compete. And if Max is having an off day or cannot compete for whatever car issues he has, you want your second driver to be able to step up. And even in Spa, it proved that Perez is not at that level anymore and it isn't working in this car. Now, this did seem to be settled. It looked like Daniel Ricciardo was going to come in for that spot. You can argue if Ricciardo has done enough of a job at RB to even deserve this Red Bull slot, but we know Christian Horner likes him and wanted to give him another chance in that main seat. And it looked like the deal was completely done. We had news that they had celebrations on a yacht, and there was even reports that Max Verstappen had been told that he was going to get Daniel Ricciardo as his new teammate in Zandvoort after the break. However, it seems like they have reverted their decision and Sergio Perez is going to stay there. Now, there's rumours that this is down to him being a paid driver and certain organisations wanting him to be in that seat for the Mexican Grand Prix, but ultimately I think this is a quite poor decision by Red Bull, considering the championship means a lot. This could be night and day what they lose and win the championship, and although Daniel Ricciardo has not done a lot, at least it is something different, something we haven't seen in a while. And Sergio Perez, unless he picks up these performances, which for months now everyone's been saying he's been getting worse and worse, I don't think he's going to be at that level to push them through, especially with McLaren and Ferrari and Mercedes getting quicker, and if not quicker than Red Bull overall. Now, even though it seems like Perez is going to stay for the rest of the season and he's still got another year in his deal, I probably expect him to leave around near the end of the year. That is not the only problem that Red Bull have right now. Not only is obviously Perez's seat up in the air, Verstappen's definitely going to be looking at his future with Red Bull, with it looking like Mercedes might look even stronger next year, and Red Bull have been slowly declining over the last few months and teams have been catching up. Verstappen's connections as well seem to have come a little bit loose within the team. Red Bull does not seem like the family atmosphere that it usually is, and sometimes relationships go astray, and it seems like when Verstappen was in Hungary and he was having arguments with his race engineer about being childish, it just seemed like there was a disconnect of what they wanted from each other and it not working. And we all know Max Verstappen's a fiery character and he sometimes, you know, says what he thinks, which is fair enough, but I think he's sometimes a little bit frustrated with some of the decisions, like getting undercut when he thinks that they should be doing better strategies, and he thinks that they have kind of got their eye loose on the ball and not really paying attention to the rest of the teams, thinking they're too good for them, which I definitely think is a case of cockiness and complacency, but it also is a case of a lot of them Red Bull people are willing to move on from that team and go off to do other things. Now, obviously the news was started when Newey said that he was leaving in May, and he has been a big part of Red Bull for many years. Almost 20 years he's been at Red Bull, where he has been one of the main people that that is helping that car be so effective. And he said that he's going to leave next year, which obviously not looking too into it. He could go into anything, but there has been rumours that he might go to other teams as well. And this follows up the recent news of Jonathan Wheatley confirming that he will leave his role as Red Bull Sporting Director to become the Audi's F1 team principal in 2 years' time. Now, completely makes sense. He's going to be the main guy at Audi, and they've got a very ambitious project, so it makes sense that he would go and leave to do that. But it just seems like the family vibe of Red Bull is slowly, person by person, month by month, getting deteriorating, and it's becoming a shell of the place it once before. And make no mistake, these people leaving Red Bull are a massive detriment to the team. These are people that have been key for them for over 10-15 years now, helping them win so many championships and actually make the car so competitive and better than everyone else. And of course, they've always got that buffer there with Max Verstappen himself, because they basically allow him to be the #1 driver, and most other teams are going to have their drivers be very competitive with each other. But he must be looking at this like all of his support are leaving, the car may not be as good as it once was, and they may get caught up quite a lot next season, not even being that competitive. All this, and I still think Max Verstappen is one of the best drivers on the grid by far, have got to make him think that there is definitely options and opportunities to go to other teams. Now, of course, Mercedes have got a seat next year, which I don't think he'll go to because it'd be someone like Antonelli. But when Verstappen's contract does end in a few years' time, if Red Bull are not competing to at the level that he wants to, they could lose Verstappen as well, which would obviously ruin Red Bull, as he is everything they've been looking for in the last decade. And some things such as Newey leaving have definitely seen the car decrease in performance, which could be a coincidence straight away, but you could also say that is down to him. This definitely could be things that are not helping Perez succeed, because we always know that they make their #1 car a lot better than their #2. However, Red Bull have been known in this market to make ruthless decisions, sometimes not correctly, and they jump the gun with people like Gasly and Albon being kicked out of Red Bull. It does seem certainly weird that Perez has been given considerable time, years now, where he has been good but not phenomenal, and this year he's been really poor and they've kept him in, especially when they've got their fan favourite Daniel Ricciardo in the second team, and Yuki Tsunoda, who has been there a lot of times now and has probably proven himself. What do you guys think? Do you think Red Bull will lose the Constructors' Championship this year, which will cause even more significant changes within the team, such as maybe Perez leaving and other people within the team looking to leave as well? Or do you think they will be fine and win everything again this year and continue to do so for the years coming? Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be trying to upload some F1 commentary videos on this channel. Obviously, I've got my football channel if you guys don't know, but this was a channel I started years ago, so it's something I'm looking to get back into, and I'm looking to improve and learn more as time goes on. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.